We'll say in the beginning, beware.
That's what I'm saying.
We'll be fine.
Viewers beware.
We just need to do a spoiler.
Scare.
Bark, 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 bark. Yeah. Why was it a dog?
I don't know, but it's so stupid and awesome.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Invincible podcast, probably the best superhero podcast in the universe. This is a show where friends sit around and talk all things Invincible, a comic book and animated series created by Robert Kirkman, Corey Walker, and Ryan Ottley. I am one of your hosts, Ryan, and joining me today is Bill.
Hi everyone.
And TJ.
Oh, hello, it's TJ.
It's TJ.
AKA Invincible.
Invincible.
That's right, by the official Invincible Twitter account.
That's my my superhero name. Dubbed.
It's
me.
This is 1 week
Dubbed
since
by
our
them.
last episode, and we've been kind of recording a lot this month, but this is pretty cool. We got new Invincible content to talk about, a lot to talk about, and it's only been a week.
I'm really excited for this episode that we're recording right now for many reasons. The first one is it's the first episode that we can communicate with viewers that wrote in and they have a lot to say. So it's kind of like a monumental episode. It's also the first time since a new issue of the comic book, which was the last issue, has come out where we experienced it individually. So we watched episodes 1, 2, and 3 together. We did not watch episode 4 together. So I don't know what you guys thought of this.
Efforts.
Yeah.
We tried to. Just didn't work out.
So we'll see. But like Bill said, we've got a bunch of listener emails. I'm excited to get to those. If you want to write in and be a part of the show, you can email us at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Check out the website, theinvinciblepodcast.com. There's a reading guide there, episode list, some of our more fun videos like our trivia and everything like that. I do want to say right at the top here, spoilers, for the comic book. At least, we're going to be careful. Everything pretty much up to issue 25 or so is fair game. After that, we're going to be very careful not to blatantly spoil things that are, we are huge Invincible fans, obviously. Episode 96 of this show. We don't want to ruin it for you, so we're going to be as careful as we can. But we also know that after doing 96 episodes, a lot of our listeners are coming to us to listen to people who want to talk about the comic and how this relates to the show. So we're going to be making some comparisons here and there. So just be aware. And if you haven't read the comic, go read the comic. Unless it's sold out everywhere, which it's sold out on Amazon. The
hardcover one is sold out.
So is the omnibus. So is the trade paperback. Wow. That's crazy, dude.
It's so insane. It's so crazy that you can Google Invincible and have actual Invincible stuff come up.
It's not Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, it's not Mark Wahlberg. It's not Iron Man. It's fucking Mark Grayson. So cool.
I was saying to you guys the other day, literally 2 weeks ago, if you had typed in Rexplode in the GIFs search on Twitter, there was nothing. They didn't even know what you were talking about. Now there's tons of them.
So many.
Tons of them.
Mm-hmm. There's some great Invincible gifs. I have to try and keep myself
They're
from
only
using
going
it
to keep
every.
growing.
I know. I try not to use it in every single tweet, but I can't help it. They're all so good. There's one for everything. And I forgot who was saying it, but there's whole interactions that you can have where you just respond to each other. It's just so good. It's so good.
You and the Invincible HQ guys were it was one, and it was perfect. It was the perfect conversation.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, that's the
Through a trash bag into space.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's been crazy this last week, man. So the last time we recorded was the night that episodes 1 through 3 released. So we haven't really gotten to see the groundswell, until now. At that time. At that time, there was the early Rotten Tomatoes score, which at this point, last I checked, was a 96 critic and 97 audience, which
went up a point.
Dude, I mean, it went down a little bit since last time we talked, but that we knew it was going to. But
Yeah.
It didn't go down that much. I'm actually shocked at how little it went down.
It's still over a 90. That's incredible.
It's over a 95.
That's incredible.
I can't believe it. I can't believe that, dude. The just the groundswell of people talking about it. And I know it's hard to say because, like, obviously we are kind of in a little, bubble here, echo chamber of people who not only like Invincible, but, other comic creators and other things, like people who would be talking about it. So it's hard to really gauge just how big it is. But I don't know, man. It seems pretty big.
So vocally and outwardly, I'm an optimist. Like I always think it's great. It's going to be awesome. It's great. But internally, and this is, I'm letting you guys in a little bit. I'm super pessimistic about it. Like I almost have nightmares about it not doing well. And we'll get into this later, but I've talked to 4 different people that I thought would not ever watch this show. Yeah. And they came to me. I didn't even bring it up to them. I was just like talking. They're like, oh, hey, I watched Invincible. And it was incredible. Awesome. Like it was great.
I want to go over a couple news items because we're going to get back into that. We have a lot of listener questions and some asking about that specifically. So before we get to those, I'm going to try and go somewhat chronologically or whatever, but the new poster that was released the day after. What's so funny, TJ?
Nothing.
Yeah, what is happening?
No, go ahead. Continue.
There's that new poster that was released that looks like a movie poster. It has all the cast on it. Looks amazing. I want it. I told TJ, I was like, I want that thing full size. Like all 3 of us used to work at a movie theater, and around that time we would have full size movie posters all around our houses and our rooms and everything like that because they would just give them to us. And I want that thing just full size, maybe even framed or something. It looks sweet. So hopefully someday.
I think it's going to be, if they ever release it on Blu-ray, which I hope they do, I think it's going to be the cover for the Blu-ray. That's going to be the image for season 1. Anytime you see season 1, that's going to be the image.
Yeah, I agree. I think so.
I think it's a little busy for a box set cover. I think it's going to be like the back cover. You know what I mean? With the writing over it. And then the front will be just blue and Invincible over it with some blood.
I think opposite. I think I'm picturing like Avengers Endgame kind of box cover. Like it's going to have just all of them. And on the back, it's going to be just the one that's all blue and him flying up close. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Are we designing the box set right now? Is that what's happening?
I haven't been home in 2 days. So if you hear Oliver fucking going off in the background, he's as much of an attention.
You can mute and give him pets. Everybody would appreciate it.
Gets no pets from me.
He gets no pets. After that, we also got, so that Friday, which again, it's going to be every Friday, we got a huge drop of Invincible merch. Some pretty cool stuff in there. The exclusive for last Friday was the Burger Mart stuff. I'm not sure how much more was going to be exclusive, but I know for sure Burger Mart was exclusive. Did you guys get any new merch?
I spent another $100 on merchandise.
I spent double that.
Are you serious?
I got 185.
Me and Liz each got hoodies. I got the teal one, like the weird color blue, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Not the like baby blue. It's like a teal-ish, like a dark grayish blue, and then Liz the gray one. And
so just the logo in blood splatter.
Yeah. I got the beanie, which is fucking sick. I can't wait. And then the T-shirt, the black T-shirt.
Sweet.
Oh no, did I get black? I got the new T-shirt, just the Invincible logo with the blood on it.
Yeah. TJ, how about you?
TJ, what did you get?
I'm trying to like bring it up, dude. Like,
well, I'll tell you, I got the only thing I got was the Burger Mart shirt because I was really, I told myself if all these went away next Friday, which I know only some were exclusive for the Friday, but I told myself if all of them went away, which would be the one that I'd most regret not getting, and it was that Burger Mart shirt, just because I think it's funny. And I knew that one was only a 7-day exclusive. So got the Burger Mart shirt in black, as well as some Invincible stickers, which were not on the normal list. You had to actually like search for them. I just saw someone else online say that they had them. So I got 3x3 Invincible stickers, which are just the blue with the logo and the blood splatter. So I picked up 2, I want to say 3x3 stickers. Put one on my kayak.
Oh, cool. TJ, what do you got?
Dude, I can't even find it. But I got this mug. It's the only thing that's come so far is the light blue. It's like the logo with the blood splatter mug. I got a red Invincible shirt or a hoodie.
Sweet.
What else? I got the Burger Mart shirt in black. Shit.
You guys didn't get the Ryan. You didn't get the beanie. I'm surprised you didn't get the hat.
I thought about the beanie. I just don't wear. My head is too round, and I can't wear hats
I always wear them, and I'm just super picky about beanies. I'm really glad you got it, so I can see what it's like.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right. They haven't revealed what this week's merch is going to be for that launches with episode 4. I'm very excited to see how much more and what the exclusive is. So they also did a drive-in premiere in LA. Then if you go to the Invincible HQ Twitter account, they posted this awesome video that kind of just, does this recap, some footage from the event. And guys, this looks so cool. We saw pictures from Mitch and like Jose and everything like that at the premiere. It's awesome. They had, this whole kind of drive-through theater type thing where you'd go through different stations along the way. It was very like Disney World. It was super neat.
I could only imagine what it would be like if it wasn't drive-through. Like what it could have been like if you were actually
walking
there
through
interacting.
and interact. Yeah. Oh, you're right. Going into Art's tailor shop, a guy walking around acting as Art, seeing the different costumes, Rex explodes, lighting on fire. They handed out little goodie bags with masks. Which, come on, put those on the store. You know what I mean? I want like, I'll take a Rex.
They might.
Rex mask.
That could be one of the things.
It could
for Friday.
They even had like the Invincible brand on it. So, selling Burger Mart at it. We even saw pictures of the bathrooms. The bathrooms had art on the walls. Not art, but art. But then there
were people dressed up and like asking
as GDC.
Asking questions like
GDA.
GDC?
Global Defense
Agency, GDA.
Agency.
GDA. Okay. People, as they were coming up, asking them if anybody in their car has superpowers or something like that. If they're hiding anybody that has superpowers in their car.
Yep.
Very cool. Everybody was stayed in character.
Yep.
They had costumes made, like legit costumes.
Yeah. Then they watched the first 2 episodes on a huge screen, and they did a blood splatter. Like they sprayed blood on cars and flashed red strobe lights during the Guardians fight.
I think it was water.
Well, yeah.
I think it was water.
But with red lights.
Red lights, yeah.
That's way better. That's way better than some red paint.
Red dye.
Just red dye.
Eyes and shit, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. They did a good job with that, man. They did a really good job. There's even like unique posters, like advertisements on walls and stuff like that we had never seen before.
Yeah.
Super cool. All right. And then lastly, there have been more interviews, videos, articles than we've ever gotten in the last week. I haven't seen them all. I've seen a handful, but some interesting tidbits that I've been able to pull from the stuff I did watch and read and everything. Shout out to Hector and the guys over at Heroes Reforged. They had Robert Kirkman on an episode, and he actually brought up this interesting thing that kind of blew my mind a little bit. Kirkman talked about that he's maybe kicked around the idea, considered that the animated series might go past the comic book. He even brought it up again.
He said he would
Kind of Funny.
He would like that.
Yeah. So like those stories, some of those things that we got little teases of, if the comic does well enough, or if the show does well enough and they're in that season and they can go a little bit longer, he's open to telling those stories.
That being said, Ryan, are you going to bring up during the news Cory Walker's blog at all?
I guess we could.
Because that's a good segue, because this is a great segue. And
Did
Ryan
we even
loves
talk
segues.
about that? Did we even talk about that? We did.
No, we
oh
didn't.
my God, there's so much Invincible news.
It just happened.
Cory
That didn't happen
Walker-
within the last week, did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
it was before we recorded the last episode.
We noticed it within the past week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cory Walker
God.
has a blog, and he's been like, there's no way that it can't be, because he'll say, here's a little piece of art, and it was Marky. And then there was another one of Tara.
Again, spoilers are.
Yeah.
We're.
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Major spoilers. So the reason why this is a segue is because I think that there is story continuing after the series ended, because and then Cory Walker said blatantly, here's a little break from me doing
Sibling rivalry.
sibling rivalry.
Or siblings fighting.
And then, yeah, and then like guys, can we just fucking confirm? Like, how could it not be that?
Yeah, it's happening. It has to be.
Do you agree? Like, how could it not? Like, he literally says back to work, working on sibling rivalry.
Well,
Siblings fighting, but yeah.
He drew Immortal a couple weeks ago, or like maybe 2 months ago,
yeah.
actually.
King Immortal.
Yeah, and now he's drawing Marky. Mm-hmm. I mean, we knew back then it was happening, but now I feel like it just confirmed it.
Yeah,
it's definitely happening. It's coming back in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I think, again, I personally think it's going to be a one shot. At very most, maybe like a 6-part series. That's my best case scenario. I really don't think we're going to get that much, though.
I don't think
just a one shot.
I think it's a one shot. I don't think we would get. If we got a 6-part series, I would fucking die.
No,
like I would die.
It's one, and that'd be great. All right. Yeah. Moving along with more news. Kirkman also was asked a handful of times, even by us pretty much, whether or not season 2 is likely or if it's in development or anything like that. And he said pretty much that, of course it's not confirmed yet. We don't know anything yet, but that it has been worked on. So they have done some work on it in some regard. What that means could just mean Corey Walker has been working on some designs for characters. Maybe they've outlined some plot points or some writing of a couple episodes kind of thing. Like, I don't know how much we should actually be looking into that. But yeah, some work's been done, which I think is a good sign that they didn't write this season in a bubble. Like they're writing it knowing that, or they wrote this season knowing that or hoping that there would be more, which is good.
I think they want to hit the ground running. And I think that if they get picked up for a second season, they're already going to be like almost everything done but animation and voice acting.
Typically what happens in most shows is, and I imagine it's got to be even more aggressive of a schedule with animated, but what happens with most shows is that they record 10 months out of the year and then take 2 months off. So they've obviously wrapped production on the first season a while ago.
Yeah.
So, so it's probably normal for them to just automatically come back for season 2. And if it doesn't get picked up, you pack up and go home.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's possible that they are already working on it, TJ. You're right. And it's just not announced or public.
Yeah,
that's true. In the Reddit AMA with Robert Kirkman, the video game was brought up. And Kirkman's response to it, Invincible appearing in a video game, was basically like, I'm working on it. All caps, like I'm working on it, which is kind of cool. And then another thing that was brought up in the AMA, and the only reason why I bring up here is because it's something that we've discussed a lot, was someone asking, and again, light spoilers here, just for, within the next couple episodes or issues or whatever, what's going to happen with, I'll just say Robot's voice. And that's been a topic that we've brought up. If you know, you know. And Kirkman said again, in all caps, we have a plan. Like, so they know this. They've probably already done it. We'll find out soon. That's all these things like. Go ahead.
It's something that we talked about, like on the Invincible podcast, fucking years ago. Like when they announced it, we brought out that same topic, and I think I have an idea.
It's got to be what
Bill,
I thought, but
your prediction that you said it has to stay. What's his name?
Zachary Quinto.
And you 100% it's going to stay Zachary Quinto. When he goes into again, spoilers, when he becomes Rex.
Mm-hmm.
You're sticking with that.
Do I still think that?
Yeah. You still think that?
No, I'm pretty sure you both thought that.
I still do.
I didn't say that.
I thought you did.
No way. I never thought that.
Right.
It has to stay right. It's going to be Jason Mantzoukas.
Maybe. But there's no way for when Rex is in the robot suit for it to not be Robot's voice.
Yes.
Like, so is it going to be both of them? Is that what we think?
It's through the suit or not. Different voices. That's all. Okay. It's just like Tony Stark and Iron Man. One voice has a modulator, one doesn't. I mean, that's how they're going to do it. At least that's what I would do, and that's what I think they're going to do. But who knows? Maybe we're wrong.
To clarify, Ryan, what do you think? You think that
two voices?
You think that
in the suit is one, out of the suit is the other.
Yeah, I think that's more than likely.
The other though, Jason Mantzoukas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With a Zachary Quinto filter,
Like dialogue.
over his voice when he's in the robot suit.
Yeah. So that's it. That's all I have for any news within the last week. I bet if I pulled up my phone, there's probably more. It's ridiculous how much is coming out and how much there is worth talking. But we want to get to.
I mean, just know moving forward, we can't obviously go over all of the Invincible news every podcast. I mean, this podcast alone is probably we're like 15 minutes into this shit already, and we haven't even gotten to the episode.
We've got a whole episode to talk about, and we're going to do our normal recap where we go through the whole thing and give our impressions, especially since we didn't watch it together. But again, this one won't be 3.5 hours.
Emails to go through.
A lot of emails.
Bit of emails.
Well, let's jump into them then. I'm going to kick it off. We got one from Jose Rodriguez. He says, "Hello, gentlemen and Bill. Rejoice after much waiting, we finally have an animated series. I've written this email several times because there is just so much to discuss. This week has been full of messages and calls about the show, which I totally don't mind. Much like Bill, I found myself fielding questions from my own mother who enjoyed the last 3 episodes. Is there someone who, over this week, came out of left field, surprising you, asking about Invincible? Infatuated with you all, even Bill." Jose Rodriguez. And I want to bring up that because we have so many emails. Will Smith, thanks for emailing in, but he also wanted to share about how there's so many people coming out of the woodwork at his college and talking to him about this show. Go ahead, Bill. TJ, take it away. Have you guys experienced people coming out and talking to you about it?
So years ago for Christmas, I want to say it was 2016, I got my nephew, who at the time was like 14, 15 years old. I got him the first hardcover. And he was like, "Oh, cool." Never read it. Knowing that I do the podcast and everything, just never read it. And then he, I told him that the show was coming out, and he messaged me, texted me the day that it came out, the day that it went live on Amazon Prime. And he's like, "This came out? Did you know about this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude." Literally, it's my life. It's my whole freaking life. But yeah, he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna check it out." And then the next day, he texted me and he's like, he's like, "I started watching it. It's pretty good. The dynamic with Mark and everything. But he's not saying anything nuts." I was like, "Did you finish the first episode?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get to it." And I was like, "Dude, finish that shit." Then 2 hours later, he's like, "I just finished the second episode. Omni-Man is fucking crazy. This is insane." So yeah, he loved it. And I have a mom story as well.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Did your mom watch it?
Your mom?
Yeah, dude.
Your mom?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But it is okay, Ryan and Bill, you know my mom, right? Mm-hmm. You gotta freaking love my mother, right? Love her to death. But this is such a my mom story.
I'm so excited to hear this.
No, it's not what you would think, but
okay.
My mom is very much like your typical TV mom. She's like a mom, you know? And it's just funny because she's I'm telling her about all the exciting things that the three of us have experienced over the last month. We got Robert Kirkman on, we got Sean Kirkham on, we had Greg Miller on, and all these exciting things. And she's like, "Oh, I can't." I'm excited for you. Can't wait to watch the show. And I'm like, "Yeah, cool, right?" And she watched it, and she called me. We went out to dinner. She went home, and then she called me not even 2 hours later, and she's like, "It was really good. I watched it all. It's good." And I was like, "Oh, you watched it all?" And she's like, "Yeah, I really think." I was like, "Well, how did the third episode end?" And she told me, she's like, "Robot, with the Maulers." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, you liked it?" And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "I'm really kind of suspicious of Omni-Man, though. I think he's going to be bad." And I'm like, "Oh, shit." I was like, "Did you skip the first episode?" She skipped the first episode.
Oh, my gosh.
Because she shares Amazon Prime with my nephew.
And she thought that's where it started?
And she just started it. Oh, and that's where he left off. So
no.
she went back and she rewatched the first episode and she loves it. But I just like when that happens, when like Bill, when you were talking about your mom and the whole time that you were watching it with your family and you're kind of like peeking over, like, do you like it? Like it's that kind of thing. When other people that I know watch it, I want them to enjoy it. And she missed the biggest part of the show. And that's when I was like, but like you didn't understand the trash bag. And episode 2 just opened up with a whole bunch of dead bodies on the ground. Like you like she's like, oh, I just thought that was part of the mystery.
That's so crazy because she must have been like Debbie or Cecil or everybody else who was like, he was there. Was it him? Like she didn't know.
What an interesting twist,
right?
And she still suspected Nolan.
Yeah, and she. I mean, you have to suspect Nolan because literally Nolan is like gets hit by Invincible and then like now you got to take a punch and like almost like knocks him out.
That's in episode 1 though.
Suspicious, like no, that's episode 2. It's episode 2.
All right.
When?
Oh, I guess so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. First I thought you meant when he actually punched him. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. Okay. When he almost like fucking.
You got to learn how to take it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it just made me sick because I'm like, you're supposed to like enjoy it this way, and you enjoyed it that way. It's like,
So I'll be super quick because we have a lot of emails, and I want to talk about a lot of them because people are excited about the show. So I had 4 other people that are like, I'm watching it, I like it, and people that I interact with at work, they were the people that were like, holy shit, Invincible is awesome. And I'm like, you watched it? You watched it? You watched it. The best part is my boss. He told me that he watched the first episode and he was like, yeah, it was good. Like, just like that. Yeah, it was good. I'll definitely watch it eventually. And I was
think he was the one that you showed the trailer to, and you told us about how he gave that reaction.
Yes, and this is exciting. You guys will fucking love this. He called me today, and we were talking about work stuff, and then I was like, all right, I'll talk to you later, man. And he's like, whoa, wait. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I watched episode 2. He's like, I love it. He's like, I'm in it. Oh, and 3. He watched 2 and 3. Huh. So he's someone who, after watching the first episode, even seeing all the craziness, was just like, okay, yeah, all right. But after watching the second and then the third, like his excitement just fucking grew.
Awesome.
And I couldn't believe it. I'm so excited. The pessimist in me was like, oh no. But he and the other people, and TJ, your fucking mom of all people. Like,
that's crazy to me.
I can't believe it.
I've also
said Muller twins.
Yeah.
Your mom said Muller twins.
She said Muller twins and is talking to you about it.
We went out to dinner. Like, what was it, last night or the night before? And it was, or lunch, and it was me, my parents, and my nephew, and it was just us. And we had this whole conversation about like, Rexplode, Invincible, and Amber and Eve. And I'm like, literally talking about it, and I had to stop and be like, this is insane to me that we're like, I'm having this conversation with you guys. It's nuts.
We'll move on to the next one.
Work as well, like, came up to me and was like, yeah, I watched the show. Like it's just crazy that everybody's talking about it.
So every single person, literally 100% of the people that I've been like, so what do you think of Omni-Man? What do you think's going to happen? They're all wrong. But they're so convinced of what's going on because it's very like the show is doing a really good job of making you think one thing. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait until they get to like what actually happens. It's going to blow their expectations away. I can't fucking wait.
I've seen a few correct guesses, very, very close guesses, and heard a few.
They're not really hiding it a lot, though.
No,
I think.
But I mean, like they're getting pretty specific about these guesses, and they're pretty close. Mm-hmm. That being said, I've had a handful of friends and such reaching out. Katie's, my brother-in-law, Katie's brother, reaching out and watching it, and just seeing everybody. It's just been crazy. Like talking about it, even just kind of funny, just listening to them review it and talk about it. And it's been awesome. Mm-hmm. So yeah, who's going next?
I have an email.
Let's go.
And it's from Bubba from Queens. What up, Bubba? He says, what up, y'all? I recently read the entire Invincible series after the first trailer, before the show came out, then found the podcast earlier this year. So I've been listening from the beginning well as whenever you'll drop a new episode. So my question is, with the pace that the show is going, what episode do you think that will get the issue 10/11 story? Mm-hmm. Keep up the good work, y'all. Bubba from Queens.
So this is going to dive a little bit into my general thoughts on episode 4. This episode took me by surprise in that it really made me realize that this season is... Back up a little bit here. When I recommend Invincible to people and want them to read it, I prefer to give them the hardcovers. That's always the way I've blocked out the arcs. And I would say, all right, Volume 1 is the introduction to the characters. It's the story of Mark and his family and what happens with Omni-Man. Volume 2 is everything at the wall. Let's see what sticks. Here's a ton of storylines, a ton of plots and stuff like that. Like, here's a ton of cool stuff. Now, if you take Volume 2 and stick it right in the middle of Volume 1, that's what this is. We're getting almost all the Volume 2 storylines. So that would be the, issues 12 through 24 or whatever, right in the middle of issues 1 through 12. So that's where I think this story is going to end. I think we're going to end with, or this season's going to end with issues 11 and 12, but everything in between is going to be pulled from the first 24 issues.
That's really good. Yeah. It's universe building while using B storylines.
Which is essentially what happens in Volume 1, but instead of like the Bomber and some Lizard League stuff.
Boring stuff, yeah.
They're putting in the stuff from...
Boring stuff?
Come on.
Oh, it's still good. It's still good, but there's a reason they did it.
I will say this without saying specifically what it was. Certain things that happen with the Lizard League, in my opinion, are the most underrated in the entire.
We will still get
series.
that. We'll still get that
later.
Season
later
2.
We will
get that.
Yeah.
I think we still might see Lizard League this season as a tease. So that's what I think. But good question though.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to do two quick fire ones. Okay.
Yep.
The first one is from our very good friends over at Invincible HQ on Twitter, saying, "Hey guys, just wanted to say sorry, not sorry for giving TJ the Invincibabble nickname. We had no other choice. Thanks for all you do for Invincible, and can't wait to hear your thoughts on the rest of the season. The Invincible HQ social team.
I'll wear it with pride.
Yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely. So the next one that I'll read." This is from friend of the podcast.
Sorry, I want to interject. You guys are killing it. Like Invincible HQ as like on Twitter and everything like that. The marketing has been outstanding, and I've seen everyone else complimenting you guys too. So you're killing it. So keep up the good work.
It's got to be a full-time job.
Brian, hold on. You guys are killing it. I thought you were talking about me and Bill, and I'm like,
I know.
You know what, guys? You guys are killing it. You guys are killing it.
We're reading these emails so well.
But no, like. I agree. Like we're not going to let you talk, Bill. Yeah, I agree.
A lot of people are happy about that, probably. All right. So, hello, friends. This is Mike talking about how much he loved the first 3 episodes, everything about it, and some of the changes. So he really loves Amber as being a more interesting character. I 1000% agree. We've talked about that. Also, Damien Darkblood is actually a legitimate threat to Nolan and his secret, as opposed to just kind of like a running gag. So the main thing, his main prediction is that they're really going to ramp up Robot's plotline. They're already layering in a lot of very early to make him look suspicious. I think the Rudy reveal will be a cliffhanger for the season 1 conclusion. Also, I predict that Steve will get killed during the Mark and Nolan battle. We will fall in love with the character only to have him ripped away from us. That's so Kirkman.
Uh-huh. We all thought it was going to happen in the opening right away.
Right.
We all thought that one of the Maulers was going to kill him just in that moment when he's having that heart-to-heart. At first, I thought you were reading an email that I have, and I'll explain why, because this one is from Jose Santos. He says, hope you guys are doing well. I got into the comics last summer and found your podcast shortly after the teaser trailer for the show, which, again, that sounds familiar too.
Yeah, it was the same as Bubba.
Jose continues, so far I'm loving this show, especially the smaller changes. I like the new Amber, and I think some viewers unfamiliar with the comic might actually end up preferring her over Eve. So that makes the love triangle more interesting. Totally agree.
Yep.
Damien Darkblood was also a pleasant surprise. We're noticing a trend, considering how he was just a joke in the comic. But I feel like his talk with Debbie, also making her suspicious of Nolan, might take away from some of the emotional impact of her seeing the fight. True. Yeah, I'm really curious about how that's going to play out. Mm-hmm. And then he continues, I hope they give other members of the Guardians of the Globe, like Black Samson, Shrinking Ray, more development. They don't need the same screen time as some of the others, but I thought they could have explored their backstories more, like in the Secret Origins in issue 25. It's nice to see Mark struggle with learning his powers and having Nolan help him out. And holy crap, the gore is amazing. Before I went into the first episode, I feared the action wouldn't be as bloody as their comic counterparts. But if episodes 1 and 2 are the standard, then I think it's safe to say the gore is going to surpass the comic. As for predictions, I think the first season is going to end up with the Viltrumites. This is a little bit after issue 25. So he's saying stuff that happens right after issue 25 and that whole story arc. So he's thinking it might end around there. Anyway, that's all I can say. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on the future episodes when they're released. Best regards. Thanks, Jose. Again, yeah. If you know the comics, you know what we're talking about. We're just trying to be a little bit more careful for someone who might not be, who's stumbled onto this episode. But yeah, I don't know. I think that might be a little too far at the pace that this show's going. I think that's going to be the halfway point of season 2.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it.
Yeah,
I would not be surprised. I don't think it's going to happen, but at the pace the show's going at, I really honestly don't know. They could fucking do it.
I think it's going to be the premiere of season 2.
Ooh, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. And the first episode,
the entire episode is going to be like, status quo. Kind of like the first episode of season 1. And then the ending is gonna.
Dude, that's smart. I could see that. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I hope us talking like this for people that haven't read the comic inspires them to go buy the comic and read it because they want to fucking know. Like,
there can't be that many people who've gotten this far in this episode of this podcast without really. But we're still being careful.
Go ahead. Next email.
Frank writes in and says, "Hey guys, this show has blown my fucking mind. I can't stop watching it. I started reading Invincible as soon as I saw the first teaser drop." Again, familiar.
Wow.
I didn't even watch the teaser until I finished the series. And it's become my favorite thing ever. The Walking Dead has been my favorite series for as long as I've been reading comics, but holy shit, Invincible matches it and might even exceed it for me. I worried that the animated series wouldn't live up to my expectations, but it shattered them. I love that they've changed just enough to keep us guessing while it stays and feels true to the comics. It feels like we're all experiencing Invincible for the first time together, and that's super special. Hope you guys have an awesome Invincible Friday or Thursday night. Frank. Thanks, Frank.
Thanks, Frank.
But yeah, it's crazy to hear like people are like, "Oh, I discovered it after the first trailer, after the first trailer."
Yep.
They did a good job.
They did.
All right, so I have an email here from Judd. Hi, guys. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I like that he said caller. I've been listening to your first 3 episode reactions and have had a thought. Then I noticed that I haven't seen anyone else posting on any other Invincible-rated Facebook groups either. So I'm thinking this prediction must be way off base, but just wanted to send it your way just in case.
I hope this is pretty cool. I hope it's really out there.
This is guys. I fucking love this. Go ahead, Ryan.
No, I was just trying to think of something like super random.
Okay,
I couldn't.
All right, this is awesome. Getting into a little. I'm just gonna name a character that we haven't talked about really at all. Doesn't spoil anything. It's a character in Invincible. Could Steve be Powerplex? Are they showing that superheroes keep messing with his world? And then during the big battle between Mark and Omni-Man, Steve's son is going to end up getting killed, or vice versa. It could be Steve or his son. Looking at IMDb, John Hamm is listed as only being on 2 episodes, so maybe that's it for him. But I couldn't help feel the relationship they're building with him and his son would lead itself very well for an angry Powerplex. Love, Judd from Canada. Big fan of Mark's Canada shirt on the show. I think that's a fucking really cool prediction. And IMDb doesn't really know
IMDb is always
beforehand.
Wrong.
Yeah,
IMDb is always wrong. So it's interesting, and I like when they change things up a bit, but I will say Powerplex's origin hits so hard in the comic. I feel like I want that in the show. Like his younger kids, I feel like hits harder just having younger kids and everything that happens with his wife. I
feel like he would need to have loved ones. So I don't know, man.
But Powerplex is introduced in the same. All of Powerplex's story is in one fucking issue. Like this is building it, and it could still have the same impact. I think it's a cool prediction. I really do.
I'm not. Yeah, it would change it, and I don't want to get into spoilers about that character. But there are certain things that I think would spoil if I explain it. But it could happen. It could happen. I think I'd prefer it to be Matt as opposed to Steve, but we'll see. It's a good one. All right, I got one.
We
here.
have a lot of emails.
I know.
So just
I know.
Yeah.
A lot of people writing in.
We're going to timestamp. We're going to timestamp this. So if you wanted to skip the emails, which I don't think you should because it's everyone's voice.
No,
yeah.
Don't.
All right. I got one here.
do
This
that.
one came in right on the wire here. Just came in a couple minutes ago from Wyatt Layne, who does our music. He says, "Hey guys, there's not much to say about these 3 episodes that hasn't already been said by so many Invincible fans. It exceeded my expectations in the best way and surprised me in ways I couldn't have imagined. I agree with some of your predictions that issues 11 and 12 likely won't happen until the end of the season. With that in mind, I'd love to know how the pacing these first 3 episodes has affected your predictions on how many total seasons it would take to cover the entire series. I know I had originally guessed 5 seasons, and TJ had predicted 3. But if I had to guess now, I would imagine they'll need more than 5 to cover everything. Keep up the great work, Wyatt." I feel like 5's the minimum at this pace. Absolute minimum.
I think 5 is like spot on. Like I really do.
They can make it really tight. You know what I mean? Like I've been wanting to kind of go with at this pace to kind of look and see. I could see, hardcovers 3 and 4 being next season with a little bit of 2 that they're skipping in this season. Then you've got 5 and 6 being some crazy shit, and then 7 and 8 being more space stuff. And then even 9, 10, 11, 12 almost being wrapped up into 1. Like, they could do 5 if they really condense a little bit, but I think 5 would have to be the minimum.
I think, like you said, 5 minimum, but if it's 5, it is fucking packed with story, which I think is good. I think that's fine. But yeah, I'd prefer like 7. I mean, I'd prefer 10, but
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. Thanks, Wyatt.
Daniel Muniz, cousin of Frankie Muniz.
Oh,
oddly
yeah.
enough. I don't know if that's true or not. He says, "I binged the entirety of Invincible prior to the show's release, and it's, again, familiar.
Yep.
And it's easily one of my top comic book series already. Now, knowing where the story is headed, I'm very excited and a little bit impatient for some big moments to translate to screen. Without giving away too much, what moments from the comics are you guys excited to see on the show? Thanks, Daniel." Thanks, Daniel. I'll go first.
Okay.
So just because I'll keep it to something a little closer to the current show and the current pacing. They're alluding. Okay, if you've ever fucking watched the show, listen to this podcast in your life, you know that I'm a big Rexplode fan, and they're alluding a lot to his origin. And if
His
you
past,
read his past and where he came from, if you read the comics, you know that his origin is awesome. I really want an episode like that, or for them to kind of dig into his origin and where he came from. So that
I like that.
TJ, I would bet a pizza that we're going to get that either in season 1 or season 2. I'd say no later than season 2, but we're absolutely going to get the one shot that came out of Adam Eve and Rexplode's origin story. 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I think just from a fan service standpoint, just the way that I feel about him, I can't fucking wait for Dinosaurus. And that's all I'll say.
I feel the same way. I mean, everybody is screaming it, I'm sure, but Conquest is going to be insane. You think everybody's talking about Invincible now. If this continues the way it's going, that's going to be like Red Wedding level hype around this show when that happens. But on a more personal level, I've always loved that. And I've also really always loved the love triangle stuff. So to bring it back down to this season and what's happening, I am absolutely fascinated with where they take the Amber storyline. So yeah,
it's gonna be better in the show.
it's gonna hurt me.
It's gonna be better in the show.
It absolutely is. However, well, we'll talk about it once we finally get to the show recap.
Yeah.
All right. So I have an email here from Alex, and I'm going to read this one in its entirety because it's well, here, I'll just read it. Hey guys, so a few things about 1 through 3 before I get into predictions. These are all kind of negative, but don't get me wrong, I adored the first 3 episodes. Number 1, kind of bummed that we didn't get the joke about Cecil being addicted to teleporting, costing the taxpayers millions, with that being introduced so nonchalantly in Mark's room. The moment was so funny. It was actually his favorite comic moment. That's a non-fight.
Wow.
I agree. He's
I don't
just
think it's
teleporting
too late.
willy-nilly all over the place.
I don't think it's too late. He could still teleport at some point, even in season 2, and be like, somebody be like, oh, can you just teleport me? No, it's a one-way thing. You want to know something about it? This actually costs the taxpayer. You know what I mean? Like, they could still squeeze it in. It's never too late for that joke, but
I think it would be almost funnier if they show him just doing it like it's nothing, and then at the end of it, be like, this costs like taxpayers millions of dollars. So you've been doing it all.
Oh yeah.
Number 2, discuss this one at work with my boss, but the trash bag landing in London in episode 2, being led to believe we won't get the group that are worshiping it and worshiping.
The first time it lands in the comic, it happens the same way. Obviously, a little bit of a different way, but it's just a trash bag landing in. It's like, what? And then much later.
But it's because of that the people were led to believe that this spot is like, you know what I mean?
I agree. It's not going to be like Steve and his son worshiping trash when the next thing lands. You know what I mean?
Which is unfortunate because that's a really funny, just 1-panel, 2-panel gag.
Yeah.
3. I disagree with this one. The newscast at the end of episode 2 was a terrible decision. I mean, we're talking about the very first page of Invincible being left out. That's like spoilers. You know what? I won't read the rest of the spoilers, but he's saying it's like leaving other things out that are important. But I have to I don't. Oh, he said it was hidden very, very well, and he didn't even catch it the first time he watched it. I think that was a fucking great decision. I called it from the very beginning that they need to not do that in the show, because the very first thing in an Invincible comic, a new comic book, is a fucking Scooby-Doo villain. Like, it's like a whodunit, and it's the fucking, you know what I mean? Like,
again, I might agree to some level with Alex here. Like, I'm nostalgic for that because it is like the first panel of the comic. It is the first like real mystery and villain. It is like, I'm nostalgic for it in a comic book sense, but I think that if you're trying to, update it, it had to be done. I'm glad we at least got the shout out in the news thing. Yeah. I think that's cool.
I think that's what it needed to be. So predictions. And in parentheses, that prediction that Robot will prick Rex is wild. Way too soon. Wink. But I think, as you discussed, we'll see more of Nolan being chill to kind of relieve the tension.
Yeah.
And then he says, similar story. P.S. I called my dad after watching episode 1 and told him he may want to watch out for the violence, but that he should definitely not let my mom watch it. The next day, I'm talking with my parents, and my mom says it was quite shocking. She didn't make it through the whole scene, but I absolutely loved the conversation that followed. They were asking all the right questions, and it just made me really proud to be an Invincible fan in the year 2021.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
A lot of parents watching this show.
I know,
a lot
right?
of parents.
All right. I have one more. How many more do you guys have?
I also have one more.
I have 2 more.
Okay. All right. We'll try and go quick, everybody.
We're
just excited about it, and we really want to share these with everyone.
People are excited about it, and they want to share their excitement.
My last one's from Jordan Gilbert. He says, "Hey guys, first of all, finally here after 3 years of being announced, it doesn't feel real at all. Really love the direction the show is going. I take this adaptation as a way for Kirkman to trim the fat from what he did 20 years ago, and he always delivers. I enjoy how much more Mark getting his powers is fleshed out, and the fight/leverage speech was amazing. It just feels like a much more personable experience this time around compared to the comic. You can really see Nolan feeling bad because he knows what he has to do next. Onto the Guardian fight, mind blown. Knew it was going to be violent, but my God, the sloshing of Aquarius's body flopping to the ground just does something to me." Also, wanted to point out a comment where I saw Red Rush getting his head crushed. Probably felt like an eternity to him. Love the fact that no music played while it was crushed. I'm a sucker for that. Which, by the way, I did see that too. Him punching like that and time slowing down, like literally minutes before, he was saying that mere moments feel like eternities to him. Him dying was a long time.
That is so crazy.
Dude.
That's crazy.
He ends with, on to episode 2 and 3, agreeing with you guys about how much more fleshed out Amber feels. And I enjoy the fact that there's a bigger mystery element this time around surrounding the Guardians being dead. Thanks. Love always, Jordan. Thanks, man.
Great.
TJ?
So Aaron wrote in, and Aaron has an email kind of alluding to the second half of the first 25 issues. So it's still within that 25 issues, but if you have not read them, skip ahead. Okay. Greetings. Happy to have found your podcast via Twitter. At the end of the third episode, we see the Maulers freed by a benefactor. It seems it is Robot. I'm curious as to how you would think this affects the dynamic of the Maulers and their perspective intelligence, or their perceived intelligence. TV show-wise, so far we can deduce their cloning ability. But it wasn't until... Spoilers. But it wasn't until they brought Immortal back to life that they fell on Angstrom's radar. Angstrom Levy. Then, after they helped him, they fell on Robot's radar in terms of their capabilities. Do you fear the show may rush those arcs for the sake of TV? I feel loyal to the chronology of the events with those three characters and their interweavings. Comic-wise, those arcs were foundational. I'm happy to see whatever the show does, especially with Kirkman having said it's like he gets to write it again and revise his first draft. Stoked to start listening to your cast. Just downloaded the first episode from 2016. Oh God!
Oh, please don't. I should just remove those.
I have a great one, and enjoy Invincible Friday. Thanks again, Aaron from Michigan.
Thanks, Aaron. Go ahead and skip those up to like issue 50.
First time listener, last time listener after watching it.
Yeah, just go to episode 50.
But no, they're going to be changing and moving things up and moving things out, and I like that though.
He got me on that for a minute on the Angstrom knowing the Maulers based on the Immortal thing, and so it took me a minute, but I got it figured out. Mm-hmm. Angstrom knows who the Maulers are because he knows millions of them or hundreds of them because of who Angstrom is and what he knows. Mm-hmm. So I think that they can get around that pretty easily.
True.
Because we even see other Maulers during that. So yeah.
You have one more, Bill?
I do. So I'm so sorry. The first name is Lea. Would you say that's Lee or Leah?
Leah?
Leah. Or Leia.
Or Leia.
No, Leia is with an I.
All right. So first time writer. So hi, y'all. Longtime fan of the podcast and comic. I remember when I worked in a comic shop and always having Invincible on my staff picks no matter what. Sometimes multiple volumes or issues. My room has everything, including the Mark and Eve statues.
Sweet.
Yep. Anyways, my thoughts. It was perfect. As a super fan, I was afraid. But I can't even think of a critique. I was screaming so loud and cheering that it probably woke my neighbor. She loves the art. Everything about it is truly a love letter to fans of and the story of Invincible. I'm a big Adam Eve fangirl, and I think she's my favorite part so far. Also, the Maulers, oh my God, I can't even. They were killing me. The chicken pot pie night baby. I also agree with what Kirkman said to us about Stephen Yeun really seemed to have the passion for voicing Mark. You can tell he really loves this role.
Yeah.
I really have few predictions because I think we super fans are in for a unique ride. Anyways, have a great recording session. Best, Leah or Lee.
I think it's Leah. Thank you so much.
I think it's
appreciate that. Sorry if we're wrong.
You can definitely tell that Stephen Yeun is really enjoying this, especially sometime in this podcast we're going to get to episode 4, but like
very soon.
Again, like he just so good.
Like halfway through this episode, I'm like, Stephen Yeun is so good at this.
He's so good.
Okay.
All right. Last email, correct? You guys are
last email,
and it comes from the guy who's probably the furthest away. Hey guys, Paul from Scotland here.
Oh shit!
Oh shit! What's her Scottish voice? Do we have one?
I can't.
Just do.
Just thought I'd.
Go ahead.
Just thought I'd share my thoughts on the first few episodes of Invincible. First, though, I got into Invincible through hearing about the show and seeing the cast. And with all the free time I had during lockdown, I decided, what the hell? Might as well check out the comic. A month later, I had finished the third compendium and was checking out your new reader episodes. Boo.
Nice.
Bastard! Boo. I thought I liked them.
Nice.
Which I started about halfway through my first read through. Your podcast has provided me a lot of entertainment while I'm at work. Thank you for that. It's nice hearing people that actually like what they talk about. There always seems to be people that focus so much on stuff that they hate, which turns me off of their show. You guys actually seem to enjoy and have well thought out critiques when it comes up. Thank you very much. That's very kind of
very
you.
nice.
Anyways, back to the show. I really enjoyed the first 3 episodes. I've already watched them 4 times over, and I think I would say episode 2 is my favorite. Paul from Scotland, you and I agree. 2 is the best. My favorite moment is, of course, the ending of episode 1. I'm really enjoying that they're letting the mystery play out. I've shown the episodes to my mom, which I'm going to say 2 things about that.
Do I need to get my mom to watch this?
That Invincible is for moms. Let's just start it. Hashtag Invincible for moms.
Hashtag Invincible for moms.
Yes. So Invincible for moms, absolutely. But I also want to mention that he spelled it M-U-M.
Mums.
From Scott.
Oh, man.
And showed it to his mom.
For moms and mums.
And she's very intrigued and keeps bugging me to tell her, but of course, no spoilers. LOL.
Wow. I would tell my mom. If she asked, I try to tell my mom. I'm like, Mom, you want to know what happens? She's like, shut up.
I feel like the big reveal will, at the end of episode 7 and 8, I feel like the big reveal will be at the end of episode 7 and 8 will be the big fight and fallout, ending with an Angstrom Levy tease as the mid-credit scene.
Yep, I agree with that.
And Levy being the big villain all throughout season 2. All in all, good start.
I think so.
All in all, good start, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the episodes. Hope this wasn't too long. And again, thank you for all the amazing content. Keep up the good work. Love, Paul. P.S. Your show is also... P.S. Through your show, I also checked out the Oblivion Song Podcast.
Hey!
And have nearly listened to all the episodes of the Oblivion Song Podcast. Can't wait for it to come back in June. Another one of my favorite podcasts along with this one. So super duper.
That's great.
That's an awesome email. Thank you so much.
To get listeners all the way from Scotland.
That's crazy.
That's very cool. Hashtag Invincible for mums or moms. Start it. Get your moms to watch Invincible, and I want quotes on our Twitter, on Invincible HQ's Twitter, about what your mom or moms thought of Invincible.
Is it moms or mom? Invincible for mom? Invincible for moms. It has to be an S.
Moms.
M-O-M-S.
Yeah.
Yes.
Invincible
moms.
for moms.
That's hilarious. Yeah. I love it. Oh my God.
Hashtag Invincible for moms. Don't start it.
God, you're making me want to tell my mom to watch it. Oh, she would not.
You should.
She would not like it, man.
Dude, there's a story about me, TJ, and a couple other people watching American Psycho at his house, and his mom coming in at the scene.
Yes,
the worst scene. And
basically, there's a penis on the screen.
Yeah.
TJ's mom walks in.
And she comes in, she's like, I'm looking, and we're all like, don't look at the screen. Don't look at this. Look at me. Look at my eyes. I can't believe she.
We were like 18.
I can't believe she watched it.
Yeah. Oh my God. All right, guys, it's time. It's finally time. Check the time codes. This is it. We're talking about episode 4.
Like 3 hours in right now.
Episode 4 of Invincible. Right off the bat, initial thoughts. Bill.
I thought it was a very good middle episode. It was kind of what I expected in terms of like what we were going to get. And I was fucking right. There we go. Go on.
TJ.
One of my favorite scenes out of all 4 episodes is in this episode. The amount of character building and where you think they're going to go, they didn't quite go that way. And I love it. I loved it. I really, really loved it.
Awesome.
Like, really, really.
Like, I don't need to say much because like I already said, this was the episode where I'm like, this is volume 2. We're like in it. We're in it. Like this is the, like, there's so much, like they skipped right past like all this. It doesn't feel like we're just learning these characters. It's like, no. You know everybody. Now we're just going to keep piling more on. In fact, here's some even new stuff that you don't even know. Like, what? So, again, Stephen Yeun's voice acting, incredible. And then Debbie and Amber, like, it was their show. It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
So, we ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. Previously on. For real, we got it previously on.
Yeah. Ready to start episode 4? Let's talk about episodes 1 through 3.
No, we got it previously on. That was kind of cool. So again, we got to see a little recap of some important story beats. It was at this moment where I'm like, they're actually gonna show the continuation of these storylines. For some reason, I was thinking like, okay, we probably won't see the Nolan, mystery resolved much. Maybe we'll take a break from the teen team. The whole episode will be Mark on Mars, and then he'll come back, and that'll be a way to stretch out the whole mystery and and stretch out the teen team story. No, all of it. We're moving. We're moving right along here. Opens up in a desert with a man with a scarab tattoo on his hand. He gets out, goes into a dig site in the middle of the desert, and goes up to a tomb, puts his hand on the tomb. The lid blows off, and this green mummy creature rises out of it. All the indigenous people outside say he's resurrecting Kahor, and he screams, and the guy, now a potentially possessed green mummy thing, starts floating towards the exit as a storm rages around, and the door slams and blocks him in.
Was it Kahor? I thought it was Kahal. Maybe I misheard it.
I think it was Kahor, but then again, Kahor is a wine region, so I might just know it.
Familiar to Oblivion songs, but it's kind of like one of those faceless men names.
Is this mummy someone we know from like a spin-off?
As far as we know, this is not in the comics anywhere.
At all,
this is
right?
A new. I mean, it looks like a new villain.
Oh yeah, he says he wants to retake the world or something. They immediately got trapped back in there.
Yeah, he's trapped in there, so obviously he gets out. But then the way it transitions to like Mark, like
causing the storm. You know what I mean? Like it felt like, was he causing the storm?
I don't think so. I don't think
it's a theme. It's a theme that comes back. But I love it because Kirkman does this in his comic book. For people who haven't read it, and for people who have, like, think about it. Kirkman puts in these little threads that mean nothing, or so you think.
Volume 2,
and then it comes back like 2 years later, and you're like, oh yeah, that fucking thing.
This guy could break out in season 3. I don't think he will,
or 3.
You know what I mean? And it'll be like, hey, that's the guy. And
I hope that happens, but I don't think it will. It'll happen in season 1.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I think that it'll build up, and we'll see little bits of it, and then it'll just be like over so quick, and play up the trope of like this impending doom. I think that would be pretty fun.
Yeah, we'll see. There was something else I was going to say about this guy, and now I forgot.
I really feel like it's someone that we've seen in like Invincible Universe or something.
No, I don't think it was.
Okay.
I really don't think it was, because I was really trying to think about it, and maybe I'm wrong, but let us know if there is, and I'm sure we'll see on Twitter and stuff like that. This was one of the first times where I felt like this feels like I'm watching like a 90s cartoon. This feels like they're resurrecting Apocalypse or something in the X-Men animated series, or like Jackie Chan Adventures or something like that. Like this felt so like cartoon, and in a good way, like a really nostalgic way, seeing like these mummies and stuff like that. It was cool. Okay, Mark and Nolan are flying through the desert. We got some Vampire Weekend playing in the background. Mark's causing a desert storm he's causing a storm. They talk about
he's flying too close to the ground.
Yeah.
They have the discussion about having to exercise. I thought that was cool. Get that out there now. Mark hates that he has to exercise, and Nolan says, "Okay, let's take a break. I'll race you to Mount Everest. Last one there has to do the dishes for a month or whatever. Which one's Mount Everest? It's the high one." They get there. Mark's out of breath, and there's a mountain climber that shows up, and he's like, "Holy fuck!" And
what the fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Mark says, "Don't worry, I'm invincible." And title card.
Yeah.
I like that they literally did it just for the title card, because the very next thing we see is
the guy leaving.
Is the guy like waving goodbye.
Yeah. Nolan talks about how beautiful Earth is, and that how it's such a shame that humans are hell-bent on destroying it, but luckily for them, Mark and Nolan are there to protect it. They talk a bit about Viltrum, and Mark asks him, why he did it. And Nolan brings up his grandparents and says that when his grandparents died, crazy. Holy shit.
Not in the comics. No history there, guys.
No, but kind of in the comics.
Oh, yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That when his grandparents died, he left and wanted to build something new. He talks about how he found his mom, and he, then he came along, and that changed things. And Mark says that he couldn't leave like that, and that Nolan is saying, that's why I'm training you. I want you to be, you have to be willing to sacrifice. And they say, hey, let's race home. And, they race home, and it was a great scene of them flying. Dude, all this dialogue, man. Mm-hmm. Like, come on.
There's what? Dialogue?
Dialogue. It's so good.
What makes this episode good is the dialogue. There's so much good dialogue throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. We're at Olga's house, Red Rush's girlfriend or wife. Olga believes that the government is lying about who killed the Guardians. She's like, well, why isn't there anybody? They know that somebody did it. They know who it is, but they're not telling us. She says that she's going back to Moscow, and she wants Debbie to sell the house. And Debbie kind of, starting to not open up a little bit, but kind of lean in towards this theory a little bit, asks if Joseph ever lied to her. And she's like, oh, yeah, all superheroes lie. So we've got that hesitation.
But unfortunately, the one time I believed him was the time he said everything was going to be okay. Love that line.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Debbie goes back home, pours herself a glass of wine, and she opens up Safe Search on her computer and searches Damien Darkblood. Mm-hmm. And she's starting to get the vibe that he's crazy, but he's also always right, maybe.
Yeah.
And she quickly closes it as she hears Mark and Nolan arrive.
Again, it alludes to some kind of origin with Damien Darkblood, which we didn't get in the comics, but we clearly are going to get eventually in the comics. And it because one of the first news article that came up was demon detective, something about his soul, like trying to get his soul back or something like that.
Yeah, because that's what he says.
Can't redeem his soul or
can't redeem his soul. Yeah, something like that. Like it keeps
because he says in episode 2 or 3 or whatever it was, maybe 3, the funeral, that he's has to find redemption for other souls in order to get his own back or something like that.
Right.
So then the mood quickly changes to making fun of Mark for having a date tonight. Mark has to go wash off 6 time zones, and that they're going out.
Oh yeah, where are they going? Ooh, they're going out. That was so funny.
Where every girl wants to go out.
Yeah.
Debbie, Mark goes upstairs. Debbie tells Nolan about Olga, about how she has this theory that the government is hiding it, and Nolan dismisses her basically as a drunk. How drunk she got at the Christmas party, and she needs to quit drinking. Then we get the Amber date. They're walking through this market, and Amber talks about how she would she's gone on volunteer work before, and she asks Mark if he has ever traveled. He says that he actually went to Mount Everest with his dad, and she's like really amazed at that. And she's like, "What did you guys go through Nepal or China?" And he's like, "Yeah, what is this? Look at this box." And she's like, "Actually, that's a ball. It's BAUL, and it's this thing. I actually wanted to get one back when I went there, but you can't exactly put it in a book bag." And he's like, "Well, maybe we'll get." Oh no, okay. If he sees the price,
yeah.
And he's like, "You know what? How about this? This is nice. This is a rice separator." Yeah, and it's so affordably priced. Like he kills it.
Think of all the rice you're going to separate.
And separate it from what? Can I just say really quickly that I have a stupid rice separator on my wall upstairs?
Do you really?
That Liz loves them. She's like, I'm like,
I
what
didn't
is
even
this?
know
She's
this
like,
was a thing until now.
I would take my iPad off and show everybody, but I have one on my wall. I will post it to Twitter.
You don't have to. If you want, you can, but that's funny.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, funny scene.
So it's a thing. It's an actual thing.
It is a
it's
thing.
So funny.
Yeah. So they walk away. Next, we get a scene at Damien Darkblood's office. Nolan is there.
Cool.
And he says that he knows you were in the house. You scared my wife. And Darkblood says, "Yeah, well, you killed 7 people."
He literally calls him out on it.
Okay, but there's 2 things here. This scene is what I was talking about before, where this is one of my favorite scenes in all of them, because
it's insane.
Before we were speculating season 3 ended with, episode 3 ended with, Debbie kind of being secretive, Damien talking to Debbie and then leaving. Debbie didn't bring it up to Nolan. Nolan, knows that Damien was there. Like, cause he suspects
I thought they were just going to blow past that.
Exactly. Like, maybe he's kind of suspicious. Maybe she's kind of suspicious. And then he straight up was like, "You were in my fucking house.
You scared my wife.
which is not true because he doesn't know that. He doesn't even know that Debbie said anything to it.
Yeah.
So honestly, this whole episode, Nolan is kind of bending the truth to try to like get people to think what he wants them to think. And then Damien straight up was like, "You fucking killed 7 people, bitch."
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good.
And he's like, "What are you gonna do? You gonna kill me too?" He's like, "No, I'll do something."
I won't have to.
Yeah,
like, who's going to believe
to.
you?
Yeah.
No one's going to believe you. They're going to believe me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So when he leaves the office, and I think, does he say "fuck off"?
He says
no.
He says hold on. Darkblood says, "Your wife already suspects you. How soon before your son does too?" And then the music stops, and he says, "Go fuck yourself." Boom.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself, Damien. And then,
you know what was awesome too? He was fucking hovering the entire time, not leaving any evidence that he was there at all. Like, so smart. I was like, is he hovering? And he is. And then when he left, same thing.
It makes it even more eerie too.
Yeah.
The character building, that whole scene of dialogue, so good.
So good.
It was so fucking good.
It was definitely fucking great.
Mm-hmm. And again, the next scene, a scene that you would have expected. Maybe we'll get an episode or 2 from now. No, we're moving right along. We got the single Mauler clone right now, walking around, finding a place, unloading all the boxes to their theme song, or to their the same Run the Jewels artists again, and different song though, but still Run the Jewels, which is cool. The fact that he needs to use the drill and he's struggling,
and it takes a lot. Loved it. Yeah,
dude, getting the blood sample.
That's like that headcanon, like where we're like, wait.
Bullets bounce off, but he can.
Bullets bounce, but he can just do a syringe. You're like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah, so good.
I love it.
So he's cloning himself. We see it with the vial, music's playing. He opens up some Burger Mart patties, puts them in the machine. And he says, "See you soon, brother."
I think it's interesting. I was like, I wonder what that is, and if I'm just doing the whole Invincible podcast thing, and we're like, what does this mean? Where he finds the blue cell among all of the normal cells, and he's like, there you are, and he injects whatever it is into that cell to start it cloning.
Yeah.
It's obviously all his blood and all of his cells, but he specifically looked out.
There's like
this
multiples of him within him or something that he has to.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Multiples.
Multipass.
So, but then the camera pans back, and it's actually Robot watching that.
From first person,
yes.
Right? Because which I missed. I'm like, what did I just see? And then Rex is there, and I'm like, I see.
It's a HUD.
Okay.
It's in his display.
What is he doing?
So the Guardians are arriving at the new base. Black Samson and Rex go at it a little bit more. He's like, if you say one more time that you were an original member, you'll what? I don't know. I'll explode something. Like,
probably your balls.
Probably your balls. Cecil arrives on scene, and Rex says, "You missed a spot," and Cecil says that they're going to leave that blood splatter there to remind you all.
Big blood splatter on the wall that was still left there from the Guardian's death, murder.
So if you ever feel,
getting cocky,
go look at that.
Yeah.
It's a very Cecil thing to do, if you know what I mean. Leaving something as a reminder.
Not as Cecil as he's about to get.
Yeah.
But go on.
You're right. Monster Girl talks to Rex like, "Hey, we're cool, right?" And Rex is like, "By cool, you mean you that you knocked out 3 of my teeth and embarrassed me in front of the entire superhero community? Yeah, I guess we're cool. Those guys are a bunch of assholes anyways." And she's like, "Yeah, they were totally assholes." And he's like, "Huge stink." And it's like, okay, too far.
Gaping, dirty, filthy assholes.
Yeah.
All right, dude.
Yeah.
Just walks away.
She walks away.
But they're like friends now, and I love that
that
dynamic.
little
dynamic.
That's gonna be sweet.
Rex notices this, and he walks over and asks/commands Rex to not get too attached to her, especially romantically. And Rex is like, "Dude, she's like 14 years old, but I'm a member of the Guardians of the Globe now, so I can fuck whoever I want." And Robot says, "I'm glad we had this understanding," and puts his hand on his shoulder, and he's like, "Oh!" And he's like, "Oh, sorry, I must have pinched an urge pinched a nerve. I forget how. What is it?
Sensitive you humans are.
I forget how soft you guys,
Squishy.
soft you humans are.
Yeah, soft you humans are. So glad they pulled that line. They did that also perfectly. I don't like the line of Rex saying he can fuck whoever he wants now. It's a little. It was a little on
weird.
The nose. Like, okay, he's an asshole. I get it, but like.
Yeah.
Like, did you not learn? I mean, I guess that's the point of Rex, but like, literally.
Yeah.
Well, he's thinking.
Hey, so I made this prediction, right?
I mean, it was an asshole thing to say, but at the same time, like,
yeah.
But it pulls away and it shows Rex's, hand. He's got like a splinter, like a needle, and he got like a sample of Rexplode's
You
blood.
said this was going to happen this episode, Bill?
Yeah, I said it. It was my prediction that I made at the end of our last episode.
Nice.
And I went through like a couple things that could happen, and this was one of them.
The way they handled that, I'm so glad the dialogue was the same as the book. Like that was really well done.
They need to continue. I don't think that they're going to introduce a thing that's going to make you question someone's morals and then not continue it in the next episode. I think that it's smart so we know. I think that we're going to have something robot related to what's going on in every single episode.
Yep, I agree. Just like Eve is not, there's not going to be like, this isn't going to be the kind of show where you don't see people for an episode or two. Like we'll get to it. So next scene is, it's late night. Debbie's still working. Nolan walks in and is like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm working. He's like, you shouldn't be working. You're the wife of the most powerful man in the world. And she's like, this whole scene is really good too. The dialogue again. Yeah. She's like, I'm not just your wife. Like, I'm a person too. I have a job. I have things I love. This is what I want to be doing. And they argue a little bit about that. And then Nolan shushes her. And she's like, don't you shush me. And then
Nolan understands that she is suspicious of him. That's why he went to Damien. He wants this shit to stop.
Yeah, he's trying to,
And she's trying to hide her suspicion, even though Nolan already knows about it.
He also, and you will see later in this episode, he also wants her on his side. Like he's trying to get both. He wants to do both. And that's so well done in this versus the comic. Again, comic amazing, obviously, but like the way they're exploring this is fascinating. So Nolan is, he hears somebody in the house. He super speeds Cecil up against the wall. Cecil said he entered accidentally. He meant to go to the front door, but sometimes, the teleportation isn't exactly Swiss. Nolan says he's a little bit jumpy. You can understand why.
He almost killed him.
Yeah. Cut away to a scene where at the end of their date, Mark is walking Amber back to her house, up to the door. And they talk about having a second date, and they kiss. And an awesome song plays as Mark flies away, super giddy. This like scene really did it for me because I'm a sucker for, like I said before, the relationship stuff, and especially when it's I'm also a sucker to good like whatever it's called music put into the show. Like this felt like TJ. We grew up on like Smallville, like. Moments like this to good music and everything like that just hit so hard for me, and this scene made me really happy.
Well, one second, just to go back a scene, did we didn't mention why Cecil was there?
He didn't mention it yet.
He didn't say it yet either.
He's about to. He didn't say it in that scene.
Okay. But before
please continue.
Sorry, but going back 2 scenes when Cecil is at the Guardians base, he gets a call from Donald that says Omni-Man is here. He'd like to speak with you. And then he teleports away, which was weird. I don't know if that...
He said he's here. He'd like to speak with you. He said Omni-Man? Are you sure?
I listened very carefully. I could be wrong, so take that with a grain of salt, because I don't know how that fits in, if it is Omni-Man, but be what it is. Okay. Mark arrives home, and they're in the dining room, and Mark's like, what's going on? And Cecil says, well, NASA's launching their first mission to Mars, and Cecil wants Nolan to go and escort them. And Nolan's like, I don't want to. My place is here on Earth. I feel like you're trying to get me out of Earth, Cecil. What's the deal with that?
Because he fucking knows.
And he was right. He was fucking right.
And so he's like, no, doesn't it make more sense for me to be on Earth as the sole protector? And Cecil's argument is that, it is a big deal if our first humans on
Flight to
another
Mars.
planet ends with them all dying. So Mark's like, is this the part where I offer to go? You know, they say it's not the same as the moon. And Mark's like, come on, I can be to Mars and back by tomorrow. And Nolan's like, he's like, how much school would I miss? I could be to Mars and back by tomorrow. And Nolan says, the fact that you don't know how far away Mars is means you shouldn't be missing any school. I love that, dude. He's so dumb, and I love it.
I love this scene so much. Because there's so much love for Debbie. There's so much love for Debbie going on right now, and it's only going to get better because Nolan's like, no, Mark, you're not going. And Cecil's like, yeah, Mark, you should go. And then Debbie's like, whoa, Mark, don't ever let anybody else tell you what the fuck you should do with your powers. What do you want to do?
Dude.
I also want to say that, like, how Debbie came into the conversation was Nolan saying, like, you're not doing it. Debbie, help me out here.
Yeah.
And then she just completely was like, do what you want. If you want to do this, it's your decision.
Yeah. And she's like, you need to make up your own mind. And he agrees to do it. You know?
Yeah. Pack a lunch.
Yep. Yeah.
You'll need it.
Cecil says pack a lunch.
Trip.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah, and I like how he says that 2 weeks, and Mark's like, yeah, you're right. Dad said, yeah, Dad's right. I'm not ready for this. Things are going really good with Amber, and he like completely backs off. So Cecil teleports back to Donald. Donald's like, what happened? We wanted Nolan to go so we can investigate him. Why did you want Mark to go? And he's like, well, 2 reasons. We could see how powerful he is, and we can see where his heart lies. Because if it's not in the right place, Donald's like, well, then what? And he's like, well, let's only think of one nightmare scenario at a time.
Yeah, dude. Because he never really vocalized his concern about if Mark went bad until later on in the comic. You know what I mean? So the fact that he's being Cecil right now with his brain going like that,
I will say, he hasn't in the show either until that moment, because even after Damien, he told Damien Darkblood, get out of here. I don't want to hear your stupid theories anymore. If I do, I'll send you back to hell. Then. Yeah. He's like, put a surveillance team on the Graysons. Yes. And Donald said, why? And he said,
they might try and do it again
next, because the people, whoever killed the Guardians could strike again. But now he's saying only one nightmare scenario at a time. He's being a little more admitting.
He wasn't
admitting the fact that he's suspicious of him.
Exactly. I don't think he was being he wasn't showing that he was agreeing. He just wanted to like put it off and be like, there's no way. Because again, something he says later in this episode is what he was doing then.
Do we get my favorite scene now? Is this my favorite
Mark
scene?
goes to the school and talks to Eve.
Not my favorite scene.
Mark's like, oh, I don't know what to do about Amber. And she's like, that's why I told you, man, dating regular people is a pain in the ass. And Mark wants help. And Eve's like, I have my own crap to deal with. He says that, hey, if you help me with Amber, I'll help you with Rex. And she's like, it's not even about Rex. It's about my parents and school and college. And I don't even know if I want to be a superhero anymore. And he's like, what else would you do? And she's like, I don't know. Mark says, well, listen, when I get back from Mars, we'll talk and I'll help you out. And then they, start to part ways. And Eve goes, listen, Mark, if you want to tell Amber your secret, you better be serious. Are you? Are
you serious about her? Yeah.
I feel like I'm probably wrong. I don't know, but what I'm just gonna throw it out there, and like Bill says, I'm just gonna throw it at the wall and hopefully it sticks. But maybe not. But how she's talking about like all the issues that are going on in her life, and it doesn't pertain to superhero, like being a superhero, and she's talking about her parents, she's talking about all this other stuff. I don't know why I feel like this, but I feel like that's gonna come back in some way.
Yeah, it is.
I think so. That's like her only scene in this episode. I think that's going to come back.
She doesn't know what she wants to do, so she goes off to somewhere else.
No, listen.
Like
now
in the comics.
Here's the other thing. And again,
we're way far in the comics, though.
No, it's not. That's volume 3. Bro. We're in volume 2 right now. So but here's the thing. What she does, and again, we're dancing around spoilers here. What she does, kind of, another character in this. In this show is doing that and talking about how they do that kind of stuff. Is that related? Do you know what I'm saying?
No,
just say who it is.
Amber talks about how she goes and volunteers and does that kind of work, and how she doesn't. We live in a bubble. Like, we don't really see what the rest of the world is like, and she goes off and wants to do good.
So you're saying Eve is going to want to try to get with Mark, so she tries to do what Amber does?
Mark is learning from Amber and might suggest it to Eve as an option. Like, there can't be a coincidence here. You know what I mean?
I will say that I think that, I I can see what you guys think is going to be like the end of the season. I think Mark and Amber are going to last a while. Like,
So
she's
do
a
I.
main character.
I'm
you know what I mean?
saying
Like, I mean, the whole like Eve going away, like
That season-
that's really
that's the-
digging into like their relationship, and I
think
feel like
that's-
that's
I think
that's
Eve,
going to be season 2.
I think
to
Eve
the
going
very
away.
most.
I think Eve going away is the end of the season, and
Yeah,
then
I agree.
Eve, and then Love
I
Triangle
agree.
is next season.
I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up cheating on Amber with Eve, and then ends up with Eve, and then could circle back to Amber again. Like, I think Amber,
Jeez.
this is what I said, even when Amber is no longer, spoiler alert, in the love triangle, I think that she's going to be a major part of the story. I think they're going to
Interesting.
keep her in as like a regular character.
We'll talk more about this later on,
Yeah.
especially towards the end of the season. But I can't wait to get into all that. Mark then goes to Amber's house and he brings her a ball box. And he says that it's something to put your rice separator in, and he had some extra change in the couch. He says that she inspired him, and he's going to be volunteering. And she's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to go away for 2 weeks." And she's like, "When are you leaving?"
I have a question.
Any minute now.
Yeah. Watching the TV, the countdown, like less than a minute. Do you think that he flew to
Yeah,
and got it for like dirt cheap because that's where it's from?
yeah.
Right? Okay.
I mean, regardless of what he paid, yeah, I think he got it from there and came back.
yeah.
And
But
he
yeah,
says-
like Ryan alluded to, he's watching the launch countdown
so
on the
funny.
TV behind him.
It's so
and
good.
he's like, any minute now, and it's literally counting down their whole conversation, counting down like now it's like 10, 9 as he's saying his goodbyes.
Yeah, the writing in that scene, it was really, really good. And he says, like, "Listen, you mean a lot to me, and you make me want to be a better man. Just don't lose interest in me." And it's counting down, and they kiss, and she says, "You've got 2, maybe 3 weeks." And he's like, "I'll bring you a souvenir," and he leaves. Catches up to the shuttle, and Cecil says he cut it close, and he's like, on the shuttle, and he's like, "Wow," and he like takes a picture. And Cecil says, "You guys."
Wait,
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead,
I was
Ryan.
gonna say, Cecil says it's very important that you stay out of sight, and the most important thing is to protect the astronauts. Also, be aware of Martians. He's like, "Wait, what? You kind of buried the lead there, Martians."
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, where'd you think Martian Man came from? Jupiter?"
Yeah. He also says that he doesn't want it to be seen because it's man's first mission. It's important
about
that it's about men and man and humans, not about Viltrumites.
Yes. We also get
Now,
to
do
see.
we get my favorite scene?
We also get to see biplane floating by.
yeah, that's
Oh, yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
You saw biplane.
This
Still in
scene.
space from When Immortal
Oh my
threw him up
gosh,
there.
this scene. Nolan isn't thrilled that Mark is going up into space. They're also watching it on TV, and Debbie says, "You're acting different. You're acting mean." And he
Yeah, she
says,
calls him out.
she says, "You're hiding something."
Well, well, how that started too was she was talking about Olga, and Olga was like, she seems suspicious of the Guardians. She thinks that there was like foul play there, and then Nolan straight up like, well, she should quit drinking.
That
and
was
then Debbie's
that
like,
was earlier in the episode.
was it? Then
Yeah.
what started that conversation?
He doesn't like that Mark is doing that. And she's like, Mark
Yeah.
is helping people. He needs to find his own way. And he doesn't agree. And she's like, "You know what? You're different. What's going on? Like, you're acting mean."
Oh, it was. He said, let's go to bed. That's what
Oh,
it was. And
yeah.
she's like, no. And then he's like, what is going on? That's what it was.
Yeah. I loved that he created his own kind of like realistic lie. Like, I have been. It's because Cecil
Yes.
thinks that I'm the killer. Like,
He didn't
I
say
didn't
that.
wanna.
He didn't say that yet. But he said that he's scared. He said that everything
Right.
that's happening, he said that he's scared that he can lose everything. And he says, "Remember our first trip? Let's go do that. You could sell Olga's house when you get back. Let's go." We're very close to that though, Bill. Back to Mark. He tries eating the sandwich on the shuttle. Just like the comic, breaks up into
Yep.
pieces. Nolan and Debbie are walking around Rome. He got reservations for a restaurant from their first date. Mark arrives on Mars, and the astronauts start doing their tests and getting their samples. Mark is bored, and he's looking through photos of Amber and him. He falls asleep. He wakes up, his phone is dead, and the astronauts are missing, but there's footprints leading away. Here we go, Bill. Sorry, TJ, you say something?
No.
Oh, okay.
Continue.
then we've got Nolan and Debbie sitting at the diner, and they talk about their first date 20 years ago and how Debbie actually dumped him because he expected her to worship him for flying
like a Viltrumite would.
Dude.
He would be like that.
Yes.
That's great.
He's like, hey, I was new to Earth. Something.
I got better.
Yeah, I got better. She's like, he says, something's still wrong, isn't it? And she says, yes. And one of my favorite lines is, I feel like I'm standing on a cliff and I'm the only one that can't fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
Dialogue.
Dude, Cecil says, and he says, I haven't been honest with you.
Cecil?
He says, Nolan says,
okay.
Sorry, I'm looking at notes. Nolan says, I haven't been honest with you. She's like, what do you mean? He's like, Cecil suspects me. And she's like, but it wasn't you. And he's like,
Cecil thinks I had something to do with
Cecil thinks
the
I had
murders.
something to do with it. I'm not a human, and he never liked me. And she's like, well, what do we do? And he says, we need to stay together as a family. And then a dragon attacks. The dragon attacks. Again, he fought this dragon earlier. Was it episode 1 or something like that? He's like, oh, I fought a dragon in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Now a dragon is attacking in Rome. And she's like, Nolan, do something. And he's like, do you trust me? Like, I need you to trust me. And she's like, yes. And he's like, you have no idea how much I needed to hear that. And she's like, now go do something. And he's like, no, let Cecil earn his paycheck. And then jets fly over and attack the dragon. This scene, man, I feel like there's a lot to unpack there.
There is. Obviously, he wants her to
be okay
with him. What he has to do, what he's about to do.
We didn't say this on the podcast, but I knew that this was going to come. Like we were texting about it. Like they can't go the entire first season, or I mean we don't know when the big twist is going to happen, but they can't go that whole time with Debbie kind of suspecting. Yeah. And if you read the comic, like Debbie, it hits Debbie hard. So I figured that something had to happen where Nolan regains her trust in some way, and this was a brilliant way to do that. And he like just give her a little bit of honesty, a little bit of truth. Like Cecil suspects me. Oh well, what are we gonna do?
Yeah, right. The next time you guys watch this episode, and the listeners as well, the next time you watch this episode, pay attention to every time someone accuses Nolan. Whether it's Darkblood or Debbie or Cecil, every single time, and I think it's in previous episodes too, he never denies it. He never denies it. She says, he says, Cecil thinks I had something to do with it. And she's like, but you didn't. And he says, he never trusted me. Like he just kind of moves right past it. Yeah. It's so smart. It's so smart because he never lies, I don't think. I don't know. Watch it again and see what he says. As far as not, I can't say he doesn't.
He lied
to
Cecil in season 2 or episode 2, where he was
what happened?
Yeah,
I fought them in the dark. Right. Someone came out of nowhere. Yeah.
You're right. I can't say he doesn't lie, but he doesn't. He never denies it. Is what I should be saying. I don't think.
Importantly, to Debbie, like of all people, like you can lie to people who are accusing you, but
even when Darkblood said you killed 7 people, he says no. He I don't think he says no. I think he just changes the subject again.
Yeah, he does. Is this my favorite scene?
Oh my gosh! Is it like the
Damien Darkblood is? It's like the last.
This is my favorite scene.
Damien Darkblood. No, it's not. Damien Darkblood is walking around at the Grayson household, looking through things.
Yes. This is my favorite scene.
Just stop bringing it up, and it'll come up.
It's a while, Bill. And he's searching for things. He's going through everything, and Cecil is there, and I think he says that Nolan said you were, said you were going, you were investigating, or Nolan said you might be here or something.
Warned me about you. Is what he said.
That's it. Which again, maybe that's what Nolan said to Cecil when he called him away during the Guardians headquarters. Anyways,
there we go.
There it is. Yeah. Cecil's there. He has his invisible guards. They take him in. Here we go.
Which, Ryan, I'm really believing the whole White Room thing now, because that was
very White Room.
Yeah.
Mark is searching for the astronauts. He's flying around. He gets to a point where the tracks end. He knows that they live underground. He lifts up the lid. Sequids attack. What? Sequids?
Sequids.
Damn
we
it.
knew that though, because Kirkman corrected
I know,
us
but that was the
like
one we
years
couldn't
ago.
remember how exactly he said it because we didn't record him saying
but
it.
we've been saying. I
We're
think
like-
we've been vocalizing these things more than anybody else has, even Robert Kirkman, for longer than everybody else has. And I like Liz came in. I was watching, and she came in. She's like, "So are you liking it so far?" And I'm like, "I'm learning a lot." And she's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "He just said sequids," and she's like, "Sequids?" I'm like, "No." I'm like,
Sequids.
"It's sequids," and she's like, "Wait, because you can't be right." And I'm like, "Yeah, we're not right.
We're never
Like,
right.
We
We're
should
never
be."
Yeah.
Fucking sequids.
So they attack, and he's screaming, and he's rolling around on the ground, and the music gets real quiet. And then he goes up again, and it's screaming, flaring, and he, throws him away. Really funny beat. He goes underground into this cavern, and there's sequids and crystals on these walls, and he looks
All
up,
dead sequids.
and he looks up at one of the crystals, and an eye forms, and then it's a Martian. It's like, okay, they're all in disguise on the wall, and they surround him, and they notice that the sequids don't. This is so weird saying it, that the sequids don't affect him, and Mark's like, yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm looking for these other humans. Also, you speak English, and he's like, we speak Martian, and they take him to the Emperor.
Which is brilliant because maybe they created English and they brought it to Earth.
It's just a funny way of being like, yeah, listen, it's like Star Wars. Everybody speaks this this common language. And then they take him to meet the Emperor, and Mark talks about like, oh yeah, I was sent here on this mission to protect these astronauts. You cut to the astronauts. Yeah, we don't know who that is. It was a secret mission. Well, you suck. Yeah, mistakes were made.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah, it was quick. It was like boom, 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 like really quick and funny.
Really good.
Yeah.
Mistakes were made, and then he says that he wants to take them away, and the Martian Emperor explains why he can't do that, because the sequids are this alien race that has attaches to a host and then can control the world, and go on about how it's they can't do that. And Mark's like, listen, I'm a Viltrumite. You ever hear of them? We go around and we help people. And
dude, this was fucking crazy. I was like, what are they gonna say now? What are they gonna say?
The Martian Emperor is like, yeah, I've heard of you. And he looks at like the guy next to him is like, oh. I don't think he knows him. I think he was just pretending to be the Emperor.
Yeah, he didn't know him.
No, that's not when that happened. He said, he was like, that happened when Mark was like, oh, thank you, because he called him a human man, and he was like, you're Martian manness. And then the one guy looked like that, and then he shrugged. But no, he said it 100%. He said it in fear, in anger. He said it in anger. He's like, of course I know who you are.
Yes.
And then,
but then there's a beat, and the guy next to him, he didn't look at him like the other one, but the guy next to him is like he's like, no, dude.
Bill, a pizza bet. How did Ryan and I both see it?
Yeah.
You're misseeing it. You're misseeing
he said,
it. I'm right.
I know who you are. And then he looked at the person next to him.
I don't think he looked at the guy that time.
Think about it, Bill. I'm going to prove it right here without even having to look at it, right?
Okay.
Without even having to look at it.
All right.
Then Invincible says, well, then that we like to help people. If he heard about the Viltrumites, why would the king be like, no, Invincible?
That didn't happen.
Regardless, we'll have to look at it later. Either way, nothing happens because he says that. He says that he has to take the humans away, and he's like, no, you can't do that. They're scheduled for execution. And Mark's like, I understand. And it fades to black. Fades in from black, alarms blaring, run, go, go, go. And he's running with the astronauts. The Martians are chasing behind, dust cloud in the air. Mark holds off the Martians. He gets the astronauts into the shuttle, pushes the shuttle away as the Martians are shooting at him. And he flies back down, grabs a rock, and he's like, you don't mind if I take this rock?
Wait.
Go ahead.
We miss a really fucking funny part. Like one of my favorite parts of the episode where all the astronauts get into the shuttle and they're like, readings? Check. And he goes, oxygen levels? Check. And then the windshield shattered and he goes, oh, fuck it. And then
and it sounded just like that. That was a good job, TJ. It sounded just like that. So they leave. Mark goes, grabs the rock. He's like, don't mind if I take this, right? okay, and he leaves.
No hard feelings.
No hard feelings.
But this is the part where, like, I thought that when I was alluding to earlier when I said that Steven Yeun is having fun with this, just the way he said it, like, no hard feelings, right? I'm gonna take this rock if that's all right.
He's nailing the young, innocent, fun mark.
Yeah.
Like, man. Then we see one of the astronauts with an upside down American flag. Looks around and then casually corrects it.
Straight from the
and
comic.
I thought that's where it would end and that we wouldn't see this next scene until the end of this episode. But no, we're going right into it. Then, as the Martians are standing around, the lone astronaut that got stranded there steps forward with a sequid on him, black eyes, and summons a tidal wave of sequids to overtake them, and it cuts.
Mm-hmm. That's a good place to stop for a second, because Bill, I saw you looking down at your phone, and now you look a little defeated. Is there anything you want to?
I couldn't pull
you
up the
couldn't pull it
episode.
up?
No, I couldn't pull it up.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
We'll see. We all know
You'll
the
have to
truth.
text us.
We all know this. We all know the truth. Okay.
Well, a third.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
2/3 of us know the truth.
Here's what you're wrong about definitively. The Martian, he said, I'm a Viltrumite. Have you heard of me? Of course I did. What did not happen is at that moment, he did not look to his left.
I agree. I agree with that part.
And the guy didn't shrug.
Listen, when he says the man thing or whatever, he does look to the left, and the other guy shrugged. In this, when he says that, of course I know, there is a beat, and the guy next to him does an expression. He shakes his head or something. Yeah. Anyways.
Pizza bet.
Pizza bet. First pizza bet of the
pizza
show.
bet.
Of the animated series.
Of the episodes.
Yeah.
All right.
A large,
of the episodes.
Pizza.
I'm trying.
Is this my favorite scene?
Trying to pull it up. All right. Mark arrives home,
God damn
worried because there's strange noises coming from inside his house. Somebody's being
this is
attacked.
great.
He charges in, ready to fight, and Nolan casually fixes the lamp. It's such a good scene. Mm-hmm. Something that was a
when
running
he's outside, you can hear them going
at it.
Yeah. A running gag in the comics that is funny that they brought it up. And it was a really awkward conversation. Mark just runs up to his room. Debbie, Sandra Oh did a great job with this one too. We could talk about it over dinner. We're having chicken. Just the way she said it was really good. Mm-hmm. We're back at school. Mark sees Amber again. They're happy to see each other. A lot of really funny, non-specific. She even says, that's a lot of non-specific information. Yeah, I went to a place. There was a lot of dirt. I met a king. There was some wildlife. I helped some people out. Saying a lot, but not saying anything at all. And then he gives her a rock, a Earth rock. It's just an Earth rock. Don't show it to any geologists or anybody that know rocks. They might tell you something crazy. Such good delivery on that.
I thought that it was going to be the moment that he told her. I thought he was going to tell her this soon. I thought he was going to be like, this is from Mars. And then she was like, Mars. And then it cuts away. And then they can have the conversation in the next episode or something like that.
No. Instead, we go to your favorite scene. Cecil knows that it's Nolan. He's walking Damien Darkblood down through the Pentagon. He says that they found blood in his office. And he's like, the Guardians, huh? And he's like, planted. And he's like, yeah, I know. Mm-hmm. I know it was planted. I know it wasn't you. And they walk into a room. He's surrounded by a circle. He lights a candle. You know what's about to happen. And Darkblood says, why? Why are you doing this? Why are you... Go ahead, Bill.
I'm sorry.
No, you're excited for this.
Damien Darkblood saying why he felt so... I was so sad. He was so betrayed. And just the way that... what's his name? The actor that plays his name... oh, God. Mr. Krabs. Clayton something or another?
No.
Clay.
Oh, no. Anyways.
Clancy Brown. Jesus.
Clancy Brown. The way that Damien says, why? He's like, it was amazing. And then he talks about how it's impossible for him to get sent back because he destroyed the ritual. Yeah. And then go ahead, Ryan. Not to take it.
No, yeah, but then they restored it and used digital imagery or whatever to fix the missing text, hands it to Donald, and Donald starts chanting this incantation, and Darkblood's like, why? You know he did it. And he's like, yeah, but it's because you didn't listen to me. I asked you specifically to stay out of it. I needed to keep this gray. I needed to keep this gray I could figure out why he did it and how to stop him. Cecil, ladies and gentlemen.
Cecil, welcome to the show. Welcome to the oh my God. So good.
Yeah, that was great.
So good. And even Donald was like feeling remorse as he was reading this. Like you could tell he didn't want to do it.
So this, fire and the chains wrap him up and he gets pulled down into hell.
So good. The circle that he's standing in turns into a pentagon.
Yep.
Right. Is that what that's called?
Pentagram. Because they're
pentagram,
in the pentagon.
The pentagon. Yeah. So it turns into a pentagram. It was so good. And it was, and you believe it. You don't know anything about it, but you believe, this is what Kirkman does. He creates these things that you just believe in. You know what I mean? It seems totally believable. And I love that he's going this deep into Darkblood. And we're going to see hell.
We're definitely going to see hell. We're definitely going to see it. Sorry. So I may have found the scene. So I'm just kind of skipping.
Oh, I already found it.
Did you? All right.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. So I'll.
We're really close to the end. Let's finish here. So Debbie goes.
But I confirmed that we're.
Yeah, I know. Debbie goes and she cleans Olga's house, and she finds the photo of her and Red Rush, and she has this. I feel like this moment is showing. It's kind of like restoring her faith in the relationship, both for Olga and Red Rush. As she cleans up this disaster that happened to them, she's kind of coming to terms that Nolan and her relationship is back on track. And I thought they did a good job with that symbolism.
Yeah.
And then she sells the house to a happy couple. And then we get the final scene before the credits. And it's happening already. They're not skipping an episode before doing this. Robot enters this room, goes in, kneels down.
Oh my God.
Opens up his hand, the vial of blood comes out, and in the tank we see a disfigured figure,
Rudy,
that says phase 1 begins. Now phase 1 can begin.
Credits.
When he kneeled down, I'm like, oh wow, yeah, they're doing it. But then when it showed him in the test tube, I'm like, oh fuck, they're really doing it. Also my prediction, because I said that they were going to introduce Rudy. Boom.
Yep.
Boom.
What
did you guys think?
And then let's talk about something that you were wrong about.
And then the after credit scene, TJ, we got Debbie mentioning off camera that she's close to breaking a sales record at her job. And she said, did you talk to Cecil? And Nolan's like, yeah, I talked to him. Turns out some new evidence came up because he thinks that he got Cecil onto Darkblood. Darkblood's gone. He's in the clear. Yeah. And he tells Debbie, like, yeah, I'm in the clear. We're all good. And she's like, all right, that's wonderful. And then you see that there's a recording device or something in her closet, and you hear Darkblood say,
Yeah.
Dude, he is like a main character.
From the depths of hell.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
He should be, because it's kind of a mystery, but it's not. I mean, we know it was Omni-Man, but yeah, I liked him in the comic. I liked, because I always felt like in the comic, like that he wanted to use him more. And we've even talked about this in the past, even before Kirkman said that.
Yeah.
That he did, because they used him as a joke to kind of get, or Kirkman used it as a joke later on in the comic, but you could tell that he was meant to be something more. Yeah. And now they're doing it. He's awesome. So yeah.
So do you have that scene paused, TJ?
Episode. I do.
Don't show it for
Don't show
copyright reasons. Yeah, don't show it.
I think we'd be fine for that 1 second, but all right.
You think so?
Pretty good.
All right, just for 2 seconds to show Bill. Bill, look closely.
Okay.
Okay, well then we like to have fun.
Oh, did I skip it?
He was a
just
little
looked
too
over.
far. Yeah. Watch the other guy.
Okay.
I'm part Viltrumite. Never heard of us?
I am the Emperor of Mars. Of course I've heard of you.
Okay.
Oh, and he does even look at him. He looks at him.
Yeah,
the
he
other
does
guy
look at
raises
him.
his eyes like, you do?
Are
Do you
but
really?
Are you sure that it was that and not like, of course we've heard of you?
Why
Like, and
would
then
he-
he looks over, he's like,
Come on, Bill.
we got a Viltrumite.
Come on, Bill. You know my address.
You're paying up. You're paying up. All
Next
right.
week you can.
All
You
right,
owe me
guys.
so many pizzas.
All right, guys. We're going to be wrapping up this episode. What are some quick predictions for what you think we might see next episode?
I haven't even thought about it. I haven't even thought about it.
I haven't thought about it much. And again, going only on the fact that of things that we know Battle Beast is coming. I'm saying Battle Beast is next episode.
It's got to be Battle Beast. Yeah.
I'm saying we get Titan. Titan needs help. We got Eve and Mark helping Titan with his problem with Machine Head. We get Battle Beast introduction. We get Mark being badly wounded. But then the episode after that, he needs to heal in time for graduation.
Do you think we're going to see Hell?
If we do, it's going to be like episode 6 or next season.
Oh, I don't think so. I think
No.
next episode because Damien's going to be in the next episode.
Yeah,
Oh my
I
God,
think-
that's what's so crazy about this. We're going to see more Maulers. We're going to see more Robot. We're going to see more Eve and Amber and Nolan and Cecil. Like, it's crazy.
The cool thing is the reason why we keep saying this is because was it us talking to Kirkman when he talked about how there was like a sub story that he wanted to do, subplot with Damien and how they went to hell and stuff like that.
He said that on an interview with someone else I can't pull from my mind right now, like a year ago.
Yeah, a while ago. What I think is going to happen is Mark is going to start to suspect something, and only Damien Darkblood knows the truth, and he's going to go to hell
To get the truth from him.
to rescue him or to like get the truth from
Here's
him.
the thing.
Well,
Everybody
Damien has never met and knows nothing of Damien Darkblood whatsoever.
He will though. He could. I'm just saying he could.
Here's the thing. I could be proven wrong, which is fine. I like that so far everyone is in on this mystery of whodunit. I like Mark being completely naive to the entire thing. I want him to not have this get cross his mind. It's okay if they do, I'm sure they'll prove to me that that'd be a good story. But right now I like the fact that Mark there's no doubt in his mind of what's going on. That his dad has no involvement. Mm-hmm. We'll see though. In only a week, it's not a month. It's not a month for one issue. It's another hour of Invincible in a week.
Well, I'll put it to you this way, Ryan. I'm going to go the opposite direction. Invincible animated series was released 1 week ago, and we are currently, as we stand, halfway through first season. Halfway through.
Yeah, and it's like I know you're kind of saying that as in like look at how much we've gotten, or look at how little we have left. I still think that feels like a lot. I think 4 episodes still feels like a lot to me. Mm-hmm. I think that
it does, but like halfway through a full season.
If you said 2 episodes, I'd be like, all right, we're getting down to it. I feel like there's still so much. This episode proved that.
Don't think about it as 4 episodes. Think about it as
almost
4 hours,
almost 4 hours.
Or almost 4 more hours of Invincible content.
Yeah, we're halfway through a movie.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. It's good though. I enjoyed this episode. So Bill, your favorite scene was Damien Darkblood?
Oh my gosh, it was heartbreaking.
TJ?
I was legitimately sad.
TJ, your favorite scene was Damien Darkblood?
Damien Darkblood and Nolan's conversation.
Mm-hmm. I struggled with this episode for a favorite scene because I feel like a lot of my favorite scenes were very small. I really liked Nolan and Debbie and her calling him out and not letting him like not giving him any slack, saying like, you're different. Oh, I'm not that. No, you're being mean. Well, it's been really hard. No, like for real, like something's going on. Like she kept going into it and it was awesome.
We forgot something.
The thing that the scene I kept thinking about afterwards is what I talked about just because I loved the music and him like Mark being so giddy and like happy and there's something about happy Mark that we don't get a lot of in the comics. So those scenes always resonate with me, and seeing him just like, young and happy and just feel good. That scene really hit for me too when he said good night to Amber.
Yeah. I have 2 things really quick. One thing we missed in that conversation was when Debbie was like, Nolan mentioned his people and she was like, I don't even know anything about your people. Like, I don't know anything about your home world.
Yes, because she says, you're being different, you're being mean and everything like that. And he's like, you're pushing Mark or something. And he's like, I just want him to know his people. I don't even know your people.
You're talking about your family.
Yeah.
You're talking about your family more. Thank you, TJ. That's what she says. And she's like, I've never even met another Viltrumite. You never talk about your family. Like that scene, dude. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's got to be it.
Yeah.
So good.
Another thing, and a question for you guys, and I brought it up before, and I think that we're getting a little close to the show missing its opportunity. Nolan is a science fiction writer, and he writes from his past and his history. And in the future, spoiler alert, they learn certain things. Mark learns certain things, and Alan learns certain things by reading these novels because he told him the history of the Viltrumites. Like, how come Nolan's not getting a job in this one? Like, how does he buy a house? How does he afford, like,
There's
you know what I
very.
mean? Like,
I feel like that's not. That doesn't.
you don't think
he
that's
doesn't
a
have
big
to be,
deal?
No, he doesn't have to be a writer and writing books for them to find a way around that. Like, there could be like logs. There could be logs that he wrote. He doesn't have to be like a science fiction writer for him to, like. There's plenty of other ways for them to get around
But
that.
it's something that Kirkman did, like I said in the beginning, where he inputs a random little thing and then he uses it to great scale. In the end, like, it was talked about how he's a science fiction writer and how he has to go, let me just go write another book really quick because I have all these stories about how I was a Viltrumite. And then that little tiny fucking little bit of information is something that is huge to the plot at the end.
I disagree that it's huge though. Like, it was definitely something, but it's not like taking away from the comic.
Mark learns about the Ragnars in that.
Yeah. Okay.
And Space Racer, and, like, not to talk about, you know, characters and stuff, but I think it's a big deal.
So,
I don't know why the show's not talking about it.
And I don't know why you think that it can't happen now.
I think that he could still be revealed to be a writer. In fact, one of the Kurt, a friend of ours who's watching the show, said, you know, they've got a really nice house. You know, and was asking about it. And I'm like, well, you know, like, they did mention that Debbie is, you know, in real estate and she's successful with that. And he's like, oh yeah, that's right. And I was like, and in the books, Nolan is a author, but they haven't really said that yet. You know, and I do like that because it's like, being a fantasy writer, he's able to write about the truth, but nobody knows it's the truth. It's a really cool concept. And I'm surprised they haven't brought it in yet. And whether or not they're going to modify it to be able to fix that point that you're bringing up that happens later, Bill.
But Bill, like you're saying that because again, I agree with Ryan. Like, they could bring that in eventually, but you're saying that you would want it now so that it can come up later.
They have to establish it before
the end of the season.
The big fight. Yeah, they have to.
I think they have to as well.
Otherwise, it means nothing. Like, he never comes. Nolan, spoiler alert, he never comes back to Earth as a human. Like, he doesn't, like, come back and be normal again. So it has to be established now that he did this.
Yeah.
Because
I
then
agree.
if they're like,
so I think that it's either going to have to happen within the next episode or two, or they're just going to move past that and do something else.
not do it and do something else.
Which they'll get around it. They know.
Yep.
So all in all, very good episode. Really excited for next week. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to, you know, put it on and watch it with the X-ray because I haven't done that yet, and see some fun, fun facts.
New trivia, yeah.
Exactly.
That was fun. I did that. I went through all of them. Yeah, it's cool.
So for people that don't know what that is.
When you watch on Amazon Prime, you can pause, or depending on the device you're using, swipe or whatever, and you can activate X-ray, and it'll show trivia or the song that's playing or the actors that are in the scene, which was cool because it's like, apparently the Flaxon Emperor leader was also Dejong Hansu, which I can't pronounce his name, who was also
you can totally tell
Martian Emperor. Now that you know, it's just cool seeing those kind of things, seeing the little facts on the side about the development of the show. That's great. I love all that kind of stuff. So thank you all for sticking around. This is a nice, good, meaty episode. This is probably what to expect week to week now. Maybe a little less in emails unless you keep sending them in, but I only say that because everybody had to write about 3 episodes. So we'll see. Let us know what you thought of episode 4. We want to hear it and talk about your theories and predictions and your thoughts and sharing it with your mom.
Hashtag Invincible for Moms.
Hashtag Invincible for Moms. So email us at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, SoundCloud, Spotify, all that good stuff.
Leave us a review too.
We haven't had reviews in a while. And you know what? And I didn't even check. We'll check next week. I'm going to check next week to see if we have any new reviews. We'll know that anyone that left new reviews most likely stayed to the end of this episode. So thank you all for hanging out with us. I hope you enjoyed the show. The outro song is done by our friend Wyatt Layne. You heard from him earlier and in an email. The song is called Incredible. And we hope you enjoyed episode 4. We want to hear what you thought about it. So thank you, Bill, and thank you, TJ, for joining me. Are you guys there?
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Good night, guys. See everybody later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
we going?
It's 11 o'clock at night. Why are you keeping me here,
Where are we
Rob?
going? All right.
Want the drop top and the flippity
Don't
bop.
Stop.
talk to me tomorrow. Just go away.
What?
I'll be sleeping all day tomorrow.
Oh,
I was
okay.
hoping
I
that
literally
TJ
have
just
not
signed
done-
off right there. Just